Have you ever wondered what it's like to work in law enforcement? Here on Behind the Star, we share stories about the Orange County Sheriff's Office, Central Florida's largest law enforcement agency. From forensics to dispatch to the deputies on patrol, we'll talk to the brave men and women who protect our community. This is Behind the Star, the official podcast of the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Welcome to Behind the Star, the official podcast of the Orange County Sheriff's Office. My name is Jon Busdeker, your host here at Behind the Star. I'm also the storyteller at the Sheriff's Office. I shoot all kinds of video, which ends up on our Facebook and our Instagram and our Twitter. If you get a chance, go follow us there. And if you missed last week's episode, we had a great time. I chatted with Corrine Baker. She's a victim advocate here at the Sheriff's Office. She was super fascinating, and she talked all about what she does with the Sheriff's Office and how when victims of crimes are out there, she goes and helps out and makes sure they get the services they need. So she is a great interview, so go check that one out. But this week, I'm really excited because we're on location this week, and we're out at a warehouse, which I didn't even know where this place was. I had to get directions to get out here. But we're here with the dive team, and I'm just going to introduce them right now because I want to get to this interview. I'm here with Corporal Bim Lowers and Master Deputy Billy McCoy. Welcome to Behind the Star.
Well, thank you, John. Glad to be here.
I'm glad to be here as well. Like I said, I knew we had a dive team. I don't think I've seen you guys in action yet, and I need to get out there to see you, but I'm here at the warehouse, which is kind of in a secret location. It's in Orange County, I will say that, but I had no idea this was here, but it reminds me, it looks just like what a dive team's warehouse would look like.
We try to keep it incognito. You know, we're the stealth.
Yeah, we've got all the stuff that we need here. It's not really a secret place, but it's just happened to be where the county found the facility for us. We've got the compressor, all the equipment to work on our stuff, repair dry suits and regulators and service them and fill tanks.
Yeah, I'll say we're off at Hanging Moss Road. We're in East Orange County. We're off at Cimarron. Yeah, it's really no secret. I just didn't know this place was
We just
here.
don't want everybody coming to fill their tanks. On
So let's just start from the beginning with the dive team. Tell me about the dive team. How many people are on the dive team, and how does this work? When do you get called out to do your work?
Well, we've got 17 divers on the team and 3 trainees. That also consists of, we start with the command structure. We've got the assistant commander, that's Sergeant Fred Westerberg with the Marine Unit. And then we've got training. I'm the training officer.
Corporal, I should say Corporal Bim. You're talking right now. I just want to let people know.
This is Bim, and I'm the training officer along with Steve Williams. And then Deputy McCoy, he's the equipment guy. And then we've got 2 teams. With a team leader and assistant. So by the time you have all that hierarchy pulled out, we're down to like 6 deputies per team of actual divers.
So overall, I think you said 20 people are on this team?
20, yes. Yeah. With the 3 trainees, the guys that just got on the team this year, they'll be on probation for the first year before they actually get put on a team.
So Corporal, tell me, when do you work? When do you get called out? How does the dive team work? Are you sort of ready at all times, or is there shifts, or how does the dive team work?
Well, we're on call all the time. We've got 2 teams. So ideally, if we're fully staffed, we'll have one team that's on call for the first 15 days of the month and the other team that's on call the second 15 days of the month. So we could get the call at any time. It's not unusual. Sergeant Westerberg fields most of the calls from the comm center, but if he's not available, for instance, he's on vacation right now. So if there's something happens at 3 o'clock in the morning that they need the dive team, they'll call me. And then depending on what it is, we may respond immediately, but most likely, and typically we won't dive during the nighttime.
Too dark,
yeah. Although it's dark no matter what time we dive, in the bottom of the lakes in Orange County, it's black all the time.
We're gonna get.
But if we're just looking for a gun or some evidence or something, it definitely is going to wait. But if it's an emergency, maybe a vehicle that has a occupant inside, it's very possible that we go out and try and do the recovery. So at that time.
Tell me what are some of the typical calls that you get, Corporal Lowers? Is it cars that go into the lake? Is it people that throw weapons out there their windows and want to dispose of them. Actually, I'll ask Deputy McCoy. I mean, what's like the typical call that you're going to get?
Typical call, I'd say, is vehicle recoveries.
Okay.
That's the majority of our call outs. We do a lot of evidence recoveries for not only Orange County Sheriff's Office, but we do them for OPD, Orlando Police Department, different agencies throughout the county.
Is that because they don't have their own dive team?
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
We're
Mooching off us.
Yes,
aren't they?
exactly.
Yeah, we'll even
exactly.
sometimes go down to Osceola County. We've dove a lot for them
Yes,
in the past,
yeah.
too.
So when you say vehicle recovery, is that because somebody drove into a lake, or they backed into something accidentally? Or?
It's kind of a mixture. You'll get the stolen cars, people dump in the water, trying to hide them. And you'll get the driver that maybe took that corner a little too fast and ends up going into the water.
So when you get those calls, when people go into the lake, are they usually, I would assume they're not in the car by the time you get there. They've hopefully escaped.
I'd say well over 90% of the time, the person is out of the car. Yeah, they're fortunate. I don't know how they do it, but all those times these cars go in the water, you'd think, oh, there's going to be somebody in it. But the driver gets out most of the time and swims to shore, and then we get notified. And now it's something like that. We won't come out there immediately for that because that's just a vehicle in the water. We're not going to risk these divers' lives or anything putting them in the water to recover a car in the middle of the night for no reason. So we'll wait till the next day and come out and get that then.
I think what the past year we've had like 3 deputies actually render aid to the vehicles going in the water.
I've seen
Like,
some of those
several.
videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've posted some of those on our social media where we have their body camera where they jump in and swim out there and save some folks. So if you're not going out there to rescue people that have driven into lakes, most of the time we'll say. So you a lot is most of it with evidence recovery, or is it all kinds of things?
I'd just like to add one thing to that. It's not that we don't go out to rescue anybody because we're a recovery dive team.
Okay.
The fire department, they do the rescue. So if there's a car that went into the water, the fire department's going to get there much faster than us.
Yeah.
And they're out there and they are equipped to do a rescue. And once they've completed their end of the job and it comes to just now we're getting the car out of the water, that's where we come in. So
Okay.
it isn't like nobody goes after the person.
Okay, yeah. I'm
We
glad you
definitely-
cleared that
Yeah,
up.
I just want
Yeah.
to make sure that
If
the
you're,
fire department
if you're
does it.
nearby, you
But
might
if-
jump in. But
And if we're right there, exactly, we'll go do it. But the fire department is
can't beat the response.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
they're right there all the time.
So then your job, like you said, is sometimes later when it comes to other parts of this.
Yes.
So recovery is a big part of the dive team. Explain that. Is it going down to find evidence? Is it what when you say recovery, what do you mean by that?
Go ahead and continue with that, Billy.
It's vehicle recoveries. We work with tow straps and stuff like that, and kind of going between the difference between us and the fire department. We have more of the specialty tools in terms of searching. We have like a grid pattern. We have metal detectors. Some equipment you need to do more of a recovery. But yeah, majority, like I said, is going to be vehicles in the water. Then we'll have the guns. We'll be looking for guns, and that's going to obviously be a slower search because it's more, a little smaller. So they kind of take a while. They could be a little prolonged, but it all actually kind of depends on witnesses where they see the, evidence getting thrown into the water or whatever.
So I'm going to come back to all of this because I'm super fascinated on being down there in the water and looking for small pieces of evidence. But before we get that far, I want to ask, how does one get onto the dive team? How do you get to be a diver on the dive team?
Well, any sworn deputy that's off probation for 2 years is eligible to put in for the dive team. Once they're not even required to be a diver at this point.
Probably helps to know how to
It
swim.
helps, but actually, we've had some really good success with non-divers that have gotten onto the dive team that we've trained from day one. They've done an outstanding job. The last few divers have been that way, and they've just done a great job. So you get off probation by 2 years. Then you put in for the opening on the dive team. We have a swim test.
What's that consist of?
Let's see. I want to say it's a 400-yard swim, open water swim, an 800-yard mask, fins, and snorkel swim.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
And it's timed. And then they've got to do, the float. They've got to float for 10 minutes. The last 2 minutes, they have to tread water with their hands out of the water. So
it's tough. It's not easy.
It's not easy. And we have a lot of people that put in for it that just don't pass the swim test. Yeah. So once they get past the swim test, then if they're certified, we can start with the gear right away and get them trained up in more specific gear that we have, like the dry suit and the full face AUGA mask. What I guess without being able to show it to you, it's like what a firefighter would wear when they walk into a fire is what it looks like.
Okay.
Only it's used for underwater. It's a full face mask. It's all contained. That's what we use when we dive. If they're not certified, we start with square one, where we go in there and we just start with open water certification. Myself and Steve Williams are both PADI dive instructors, and so that's the first step. We get them PADI certified. Then once they get all of those certifications, we move on to the dive rescue certifications, which our instructor for that is the team commander, Fred Westerberg, and we get them certified in several of those certifications.
So, Deputy McCoy, have you been a swimmer and a diver all your life, or did you become one when you joined the dive team?
No, high school I did some swimming.
Oh, he swims like a fish.
And then I was certified probably when I was around 12, 13 years old.
With a big rock.
Yeah. So I've been diving for a while, so it was just kind of heard about the team. Actually, I don't know if you remember this, but Sector 2, the old Sector 2, Dean and 50, you're in JAM unit, and I came up to you and just started asking you questions about the dive team. And I remember one of the questions I had was I was worried about having to shave my legs. 'Cause that was the thing back in the day, to shave your legs. So I said, Corporal, do I have to shave my legs? And you're like, no, you don't have to shave your legs. So, I don't know why I have that memory. I don't know if you.
But if you want to shave your legs,
you
more than
can.
happy
Yes. But no, so it was just kind of a good spot to be in. It's just the dive team came, I guess, kind of natural, just with my background and stuff like that, enjoying the water, swimming, all that good stuff.
And so going back to the evidence collection. So obviously everybody on the dive team knows how to swim, knows how to dive, probably has some different skills in the water, but you're all trained to get down into the water and search for things. And like I said, I wanted to really chat about the evidence part because I've heard stories, people commit crimes, they throw guns out the window or they drop them in the water. And a lot of times it's your job, hopefully, to maybe find those weapons. How does that even work? I mean, where do you even start? Because, I mean, there's a lot of lakes here in Central Florida, and especially in Orange County. And so if they said, hey, it's in Lake Conway, that's a big lake. And so, I mean, where do you even start when somebody says, we think there's a gun in the bottom of the lake?
Well, we'll start with a witness.
Okay.
That's by far the most important thing. And if we can we've had times where the witness has been able to come out and identify exactly where they saw the person, or maybe the suspect themselves sometimes also will come forward and tell us where they were standing and tell us almost exactly where the item we're looking for was thrown. More often than not, though, we'll get there. We may have a witness if we're lucky, and they'll say, yeah, they threw it 50 feet out in that direction. Yeah. But if you can just imagine, if you brought somebody else who saw the same thing and they said, yeah, the guy was standing there, and they're 15, 20 feet from where the other person said, and they threw it in a totally different direction. Directions on the water, where somebody threw things, it is instrumental in us finding things.
People are bad with directions on land. I can't imagine the water.
So oftentimes we are very confident we covered an area thoroughly, and right where the witness supposedly said the item was, and it's just we don't recover it. Was it not there? Are they being honest? We don't know. But, we're doing the best we can. And if we have good information and good intel, we've had good luck with it.
And
bodies are another.
And we'll get to the bodies too. But I want to go back to a gun, for instance, right. Deputy McCoy. So let's say somebody says, okay, I think it's out there 25 feet from the shoreline here. I mean, do you create like a perimeter and say, all right, we're going to check like a grid and say, all right, you go 10 feet this way, 20 feet that way, and we'll just sort of search it? How does even the search go?
It kind of goes back to the team leaders will meet up with the detectives or whoever's working the case, and they'll kind of get a general idea of the area. Then from there, they'll determine, from where the object they think is at, they'll go, maybe 30 feet either direction, just give us a little more overlay, make sure we get it. Then from there, we have different search patterns. We have a running jack, it's called, and it's basically two weights with a rope between them, and the divers hold onto the rope and they just swim back and forth, parallel to shore or vertical to shore, just sweeping the area. Very slow, very methodical. It kind of depends on what you're looking for also.
And each time they come to the end, they move the weight out an arm's length, and so that's.
So when you say
And then there's the grid search and a shore sweep, which is another common one where they'll have somebody on shore with a line, and the diver just follows the line, and then the man on shore will let out some more line, and they'll come back the other way.
So when you say sweep it, are you looking with your eyes? Are you feeling with your hands, or do you have something other tool down there?
It's kind of funny because when you first get on the dive team, your eyes are open. You're looking. When you get a little more comfortable, you actually, even if you have visibility somewhat, you'll end up closing your eyes anyway.
Really?
It just because it seems like your senses on your hand become a little more.
I agree. I if it's very low or even zero visibility, I'll close my eyes, and I think it's I look at it as a psychological thing, because if my eyes are open, my brain expects to be able to see things.
Exactly.
And that's just it. You start seeing things like you think you see something, but if your eyes are closed and you're just feeling with your hands, as Billy said, you're much more in tune with what you're touching. In tune,
there's a good word.
Because the visibility in, what do you think, 80, 90% of our lakes are, when you get down to the bottom, once you get to the bottom and you touch the bottom to search,
zero.
It goes to complete zero.
Really?
And we're not exaggerating when we say it's just dark. It's like going into your bedroom at night and turning all the lights off.
Is that just normal, or is that just how it is in Central Florida?
Florida lakes.
Yeah. If you get over, what do you say, 10 feet, you don't even get any sunlight down there once you're searching. As you go down, you probably still can see something, but once you touch the bottom, it is complete blackout.
How deep are most of them?
Oh, they vary anywhere from, the deepest we really get is probably 25 feet. We have some areas and some lakes that are deeper than that, but retention ponds will range 8 feet. Some of the new ones we've seen dug now
out
along
the
417 on the, they're getting down to like 40, 50.
It's funny you mentioned
I don't want to
that.
have to go down and recover cars in that.
I didn't even think about retention ponds, but yeah, that's part of your jurisdiction, I guess.
I would say 95% of our recoveries are retention ponds.
Really?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Huh. I guess I just think of lakes and water because I would assume most people who dive want to go in a lake. But yeah, you're right. Most people probably live closer or it's easily accessible to a retention pond. So that makes a lot of sense.
I would say the retention ponds are almost always our cars and firearms and evidence. And the lakes are body recoveries more often,
and
where
so
there's from an accident.
So with the evidence collection, let's say somebody sends you out. How often do you actually find the weapon? Is it 50-50 or is it less than that?
It all depends on the information we have and the witness. If we've got a good witness, Billy and I dove a few weeks ago, a couple months ago now. They gave us good information, and we found the item in 15 minutes.
If that, yeah.
And it was good information. We had another one we thought was really good information shortly after that, and the divers dove all day and never found anything.
Is it usually guns you're looking for, or is it knives, or is it anything?
I don't think I've ever actually dove for a knife. Majority of guns.
Guns, and mostly handguns.
Okay.
Obviously, the bigger the gun, the easier to find, so we're usually looking for handguns, and they're hard to find.
Yeah, it's a needle in a haystack, or a
Exactly.
gun in a big lake.
But even a car, believe it or not, even a car can be difficult to find.
And it's very deceiving because you'll see the car tracks where you think they went into the retention pond, but they'll float and the speed of the car will carry it further, different directions from where you think the car should be. And you're actually looking for a car in a retention pond. You'd be like, oh, it's a car in a retention pond. How hard is that? But sometimes it gets a little dicey.
At least you know in the retention pond. It's not like Lake Conway or something like that. At least you know it's in that little bit of water. But I can imagine it's hard to see, like you said.
Fortunately for us, technology has really come along a lot in my career, especially. We didn't have sonar and things like that in the beginning, but now we use the side scan sonar a lot for when we're looking for anything of size.
So what does that do? Do you go over the top and it'll tell you where to go?
It uses sound, and it's got a transducer that shoots the sound out, and then it bounces off whatever it hears. And so it's really strictly a line of sight. So if something is down in the weeds, it's not going to see it. It's not going to show up. But a car, which, believe it or not, we use a side scan sonar a lot for cars in the pond rather than trying to spend an extra 30 minutes of a diver swimming around trying to find it, we run the sonar, we can target the car right away and say, it's right here. And then we can drop a magnet or a marker on it. The diver can go down and be right on the car.
It's like sonar, really, really good fish finder.
Yeah,
No, I like that.
That's
I like
basically what it is.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's a much better description.
So let's talk about bodies, because I'm sure both of you have had to go in to search for bodies, and have both of you recovered bodies from the water?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so why does a person usually end up in the water? Why does the body usually end up in the water?
Oh gosh, if I had to say, just drownings, most of them. But there's been foul play. We've had murders. We've had just tragic accidents, boat accidents.
When you say drowning, is it because they're out on the lake and they can't swim?
Usually, but
Some type of trauma.
yeah. We also have a lot of. Let's just say that I don't know where. Autistic.
Okay.
Autistic.
People wander
people
off
have
sometimes.
been, well, one of the things, and I'm no doctor, and I don't even play one on TV.
He could have surprised me, huh?
But from what I understand, from what I've been told, autistic people have an attraction to the water or an interest in the water, and it's very sad. We've had quite a few young people that they went out to the water and then they've never been found. So we get the call from missing persons, and turns out that they went to a body of water and they just drowned. And so they went in on their own, and they can't swim.
So when you get that call out to say, okay, we think there's a person that's in this body of water, we need you to go look for it. Is it the same sort of way you look for a gun or a car where you dive in?
It'd be more like looking for a car, really, because we're going to use the sonar, the high-tech fish finder that Billy was trying to describe, and then made it so much easier.
The marine unit will go out first, usually if it's a large body of water, like a lake, say a jet ski or something.
Even a larger retention pond.
And I'll say our marine unit is the one, they drive the boats and stuff.
Correct.
And so,
Yes.
okay, so they'll go out first, but if they can't find it, they'll call you.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Well, let me back up. They'll run. Me and Corporal are both on the marine unit, so we kind of get both sides of it, which is a nice kind of view of it. But we'll go out. We'll run sonar. Hopefully, we find a body on the sonar, or something that's indicating a possible body on the sonar. We'll mark it with buoys. Then the dive team will go out and do spot dives on that area. In terms of just sending divers into Lake Conway looking for a body, it's
too big.
It's too big.
Yeah.
It's just way too big. So we'll concentrate all of our efforts on using sonar, having the marine unit go back and forth, using chase also.
I just want to talk about one example, the case. I think you worked the boating accident, but it was on Lake Conway, and without getting into details of it, but the boat was found on shore the next morning, and so one of the Marine deputies said, "Well, let's look at his GPS on his computer," and it showed the breadcrumbs where the boat had gone.
Okay.
So what we did was we took that route and we ran the sonar along it, and luckily it was in a good area, bottom area. As we were running sonar, we found the victim. You could see it right on the sonar. It's like, that's the guy. Right,
but you still have to go down and get that person, right?
Then we drop a marker, and it's usually within 10 feet, usually. And if the visibility is any good, we can spot what we're looking for, or we might do what's called a anchor point search, which basically that's just one person holding a line while the other person goes out maybe 10 feet and does a 360-degree turn, and then once they've made that full loop, they'll let some more line out. But that was good with just using the sonar and just old school investigations, just following the breadcrumbs on the guy's GPS.
So you mentioned, though, oftentimes there's very little visibility down in the water, and so if you are searching for somebody and you're for a person, I mean, how often do you stumble upon them sort of with your hands?
That's why you close your eyes, because you don't want that quick image of face-to-face contact.
I think people that are listening that aren't on the dive team, which is most of the people that are listening, that's the most scary thing. That's the scariest thing that you could imagine. Is you're just going along. I mean, obviously you're hopefully looking for the person,
right?
And they just all of a sudden pop up in your face. I mean, that's people's nightmare.
Yeah.
Remember the movie Jaws?
Yeah.
Remember when which one was it? It was Richard Dreyfuss goes under the water at night and he comes up under the boat.
Oh,
and that
yes.
guy's head comes.
Uh-huh.
That's just what you think you're going to see. When
Yeah. Is that how it
I
is?
still remember that to this day. I was a kid. That scared me to death back then. But now look, I'm diving for these things.
I mean, is that what it is? I mean,
Yeah.
have both of you come up on bodies
Oh,
like
yeah.
that?
Yeah, you'll come up on it, and really, if you're diving with somebody, we've had many times where the divers come up and they said, "Well, yeah, I grabbed your arm." And they're like, "No, you didn't grab my arm."
Really?
Yes.
I remember that
Yes,
one,
and then they come up and we're like, "Well, if you didn't grab I thought I grabbed your leg," and like, "No," like, "Oh, okay."
Well,
So
then you found the
we
person.
found the person.
Yeah.
So-
And it's just scary when you're down there and things will bump into you. Things will bump into you. You'll be going along and a turtle or a fish might bump into your mask and you can't see it. Or you grab something and it takes off.
Huh.
I've had that happen.
How?
Yeah.
I mean, so that leads to alligators, obviously, here in Central Florida. I mean, how often do you run into alligators?
Had a couple of times. Yeah.
We've never had any incidents with an alligator. We've had them in the area, though, several times, and we'll sometimes put somebody on somewhere that they can keep an eye on things with a rifle.
Oh.
And just in case it gets too close, if we have to, we'll shoot at the alligator.
It makes me feel good that you guys do this all the time and you haven't been attacked by alligators. So that makes me feel good when I go into the water.
Personally, I'm worried about moccasins and snapping
Yes.
turtles.
Oh, me
Gators
too.
are kind of like, they usually will kind of.
But snakes and turtles will come after
Yes.
you.
Moccasins are my big
Yeah.
because we're working in the shallow water along the shoreline in the weeds, and that's where they are. And we'll see them every once in a while. I don't like that.
So when you do come upon a body that you're looking for, I mean, obviously you can't grab it and bring it up to the surface. I mean, how do you get it up to the surface?
It kind of depends on. We'll get with the medical examiner's office, and they'll kind of, I won't say dictate, but kind of dictate what they expect. Sometimes they'll ask certain things that we just can't do just because of the condition of the body. But anyway, most of the time we'll try to put the body in a body bag underneath the water, especially if there's a lot of.
There's people around watching.
Right.
We don't want them to see anything.
Huh.
And then we'll bring them up in the body bag. Other times, if the body's already floated, we'll just put them in a
Stokes basket.
Stokes bag.
When does, I mean, this might be a gruesome question, but when does the body float and when does it stay at the bottom?
There's no exact science to that. We've even worked with UCF on a project that one of their grad students was doing on that exact issue, and she took freshly killed pigs and put them in the lake, and it was in a totally controlled environment, and we would go down and document the decomposition, and so how long it takes, and there's so many things: the temperature of the water, what the person's eaten, the body composition of the person. Is it a heavy person, a skinny person, strong person with a lot of muscle? It all depends. Typically, what would you say, about 36, 24,
Florida
36,
summer,
48 hours, typically.
Okay.
But it
But you
can
never
vary
know.
You never know.
Huh.
And then, if it's a gunshot victim or a knife stab, that can interfere with, because the gases will escape the body and not let it come to the surface as quick.
Does that happen often? I mean, you see this in the movies a lot where, somebody is murdered and they're dumped in a lake or a river. I mean, is that a typical thing that you have to go?
Not typical.
It's pretty.
We've had a few, but even the ones that have been disposed of that were weighted down, the body has a lot of buoyancy once it starts to decompose, and it'll lift a lot of weight.
So it's not like the movies, really.
No, not really. No.
So, what keeps you doing this? I mean, what keeps you sort of motivated? The big bucks.
Oh yeah, the big bucks. I don't know. I've done it so long. It's what do I do? It's one of the things I do with the sheriff's office. I've been doing it since 1997. I got on the sheriff's office in '95.
It's a good question. It's just something about it. It's just something about it. It's the guys, I think.
I grew up in Iowa. There's no water in Iowa, and I got certified in 1985, and then I got on the dive team with another agency before I came here, and I just kept doing it, and
I think it's just your personality type, kind of.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to say a little obsessive compulsive, but you just have that drive to want to find something. You know, you just have that drive.
Well, the satisfaction of, I mean, okay,
Yeah.
you're finding a dead body. It sounds terrible, and it is. But the fact that we went down and we were able to find that person, you don't think of it as a body. You think of it as a person, because that's somebody's family member. Mm-hmm. So to be able to give them that closure and find that body before nature has taken its course, it's very not gratifying, but rewarding.
Yeah.
And
No, I mean, a
feel
lot
good
of
about it.
people.
And also, you know, when it comes to the evidence, sometimes the evidence when we find it is, without it, they wouldn't be able to make a case. So it's rewarding to do what we do. It's
Definitely makes your week when you find something,
Yeah.
a gun or
Billy's got a famous recovery that
I was going to ask, are there any cases over the
Billy's got a
years?
famous one, but I don't know if we can really say much about it. But it was a pivotal case in Orange County. Everybody knows about it.
The
but
phone?
Billy found a phone on a very important case.
Well, what is? I mean, can you talk about it?
I don't know. I would think so, but I don't know. All right, we're talking about the Michelle Parker case.
Okay.
They had
Maybe for people that don't know, maybe just give the quick sort of overview of what happened with that case.
I don't even know.
She
the
went
guy's-
missing, right?
She went
She went
missing.
missing.
Yeah,
There you
this
go.
was
She's
what,
never
10 years ago,
gosh,
maybe?
Yeah, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
She's never been found, even
Uh-huh.
to this day. She's never been found. But they tracked her phone from after when they believe that after she was last seen, they were able to track her phone along a route, and it was pinging at a canal.
Nilo.
So we went there to search for it, and Billy found the phone in the water. It was and it was her phone.
No.
But she's still never been found to this day.
How did you find the phone? Same thing as all the other ways. You're down there and you're reaching around. And
This
hoping to
one
find
was
it?
a little different. It's OPD's case. So they followed the breadcrumbs, and the phone, I think, stopped working at that certain location.
Yeah, but it
right?
had been pinging for a while at that
Stationary
location. Yes.
at that location. So I guess when whoever threw it in the water, it kept working for a while. So I think I was in waders just walking the shoreline, probably within 4 or 5 feet of
it
water.
was close to shore.
Yeah.
But a lot of our stuff that we look for is, you think you're going to be looking out in deep water, and we find it up close to shore that we're using, as Billy was there, waders, and sometimes we get lucky with that. We use metal detectors all the time for stuff. I don't really have a famous one.
Is there one that you're proud of, though? It doesn't have to be famous, but is there maybe something over the years that, like you had said, you maybe helped a family find a loved one that got lost?
The ones that stick in your mind, unfortunately.
Plane crash.
Yeah. Well, there's been a couple plane crashes, but we had the recent one. I didn't dive on it, but most of the team did.
What happened with that, Corporal?
That was in Winter Park last summer or 2 summers
Oh,
ago.
I was talking about the one. That one's a good one too.
Oh, you're talking about the other plane crash, the one down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of my
Yeah. There's plane crashes. We've had several of them.
Yeah.
But most recently, the one, I'll just finish that.
Yeah.
Was the one in Winter Park. It was last summer or the summer before,
Right.
I think. Plane took off from Executive Airport, didn't have enough gas, and they ended up crashing in the lake. We recovered 2 bodies from that one. But no, you're talking, I think, about the one down in Osceola County.
One,
Where a family took off and they were headed down south to Miami somewhere, and it was dark and the son was piloting and he was new, and for whatever reason he lost his bearings and flew straight down into the lake.
We're out there about a week on that one.
Yeah.
Is it because you couldn't find the?
No, we found it.
Oh.
It was.
Yeah, it's just
It was the plane flew almost straight down into the water, and it was 10 feet deep.
yeah.
And so it embedded itself in the bottom of the lake, and it literally exploded when it hit.
Yeah.
Billy, you did most of the diving on that one.
Yeah.
So
It's just
it was
the bodies were so entangled in it, and we're trying to keep as much things intact as we can. And that's a dive that always stands out to me as probably, I don't say my worst one, but just I'd say my worst one.
Yeah, it's just because, like you said, the bodies were
In their
destroyed.
body for a while.
if you had to describe it, it'd be horrific.
It would be horrific. It would be
Yeah. And those are the ones really that stick out in your mind, unfortunately, is the ones that were just like really nasty.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we do have a lot of that too. But
So with cars or planes, I mean, how do you get them out? if it's in the middle of the lake, do you have special boats that pull them out?
Well,
or do you just leave them out there?
It depends. If it's insured, the insurance company is required to get it removed, and it's an environmental hazard, so they have to get it out. If it's not insured, then usually we will do the recovery and use lift bags and lift it, drag it to shore, and then pull it out of the water. Because you can't just leave it there. It's full of gas and oil. And so, yeah.
Okay. Huh.
So it depends if it's insured or not. A lot of these small planes aren't. Yeah.
So on your off time, do you guys go diving?
Yeah, it's been a year or two.
Not as much as we should. Yeah. And it's coming up on lobster season now. So.
But other guys on the team go all the time, which is
they do.
It's amazing. But it's weird though. Just diving to go look at things, even in the ocean, it's kind of different now. Now, like when I go
boring, not as exciting.
It's boring. I don't think boring, but it's kind of boring. That's why I like to go lobstering, because it gives you something to do underwater. You know, it gives you a little challenge under there, and we go lobstering.
Yeah, we try to go lobstering. It is coming up on lobster season, so maybe we need to plan a trip.
I just got my license in the mail the other day.
I got to get my license.
Well, Corporal Lowers and Deputy McCoy, thank you so much for being here on Behind the Star. If you guys do go lobstering, I don't want to go. I just want to eat the lobsters when you're done.
Well, we got to catch them then.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we're going to get them. We'll go lobster.
Catch
we'll
them over at Publix, maybe.
We'll go to Red Lobster. All
right. Well, thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you guys next week on Behind the Star.
Thank you. Appreciate you having us. Thanks.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to Behind the Star. You can find us wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Also, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Until next time, I'm Jon Busdeker, and this is Behind the Star.